Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Brian Beamish Hour 2 of Mindless Insanity. Dun, 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 dun. This is our weekend show. I guess our Brian's weekend offering. The Broiler Chicken Show. Usually I like to do this as a dovetail to the level 1 program, sort of, give the level 1ers an opportunity to ask any questions that maybe they didn't feel like they had an opportunity to ask. Through the regular week, of course, we're on Christmas hiatus right now. So everybody is writing exams and theoretically enjoying the holidays. I'll tell you, man, this is this Christmas got to go down, and I've been through some really shitty Christmases. I don't know whether it's self-pity or not, but here locally in Vancouver, we got dumped on, and it never snows here in Vancouver, so not so much the fact that it's snowing. I mean, it's awfully nice. Everybody likes snow. This is a look outside our window. Here from Andrew's Chateau, you can see lawn furniture, which we usually can sit in all the time, is buried in snow. And my poor car! And like a stupid friggin' idiot, of course, I don't have any snow tires on my car. So basically, in this kind of condition, it was not the smartest thing to go out driving in yesterday. So, man, I really dropped the ball. The good part about it is... it's just Liam and I, and Liam's got a whole team of support people all around him, a whole bunch of gifts and stuff that the team bought him anyway. So, actually, and I talked to him a few times through the day yesterday, but like a doofus, I wasn't able to be with my boy yesterday, which is really stupid, but oh well. Anyway, my crazy life. This is the definition of setting yourself up for failure. And I would actually argue that there's a hell of a lot of similarities between the way a lot of people act in the market with regard to risking their money and what Brian did yesterday. The good thing is I didn't go do something stupid like try and force my car that doesn't have any snow tires to be drivable in the snow. That could get people hurt. So I had to bite the bullet, sit at home, and wait for the roads to clear. So anyway, the big conjecture was, and obviously the weather's a little bit clearer here today. In fact, I can see some blue skies. It's crisp out there, but the roads aren't covered in snow like they were yesterday. And actually, they're clear up by Liam's house, so we should be okay to drive. Anyway, I had to bite the bullet. So as I had said earlier, this has got to go down in the record books as one of the shittier of Christmases. And I'm getting the feeling that there's a lot of people that have been feeling the same way. When I talk to people back east, they're kind of like, it was a damn Christmas, crazy. Hopefully all of you had yourselves a great Christmas. I mean, if anything, we have to be pleased with the market. Nobody came along and pooped on Bitcoin. Usually, you can, in fact, I was even, as we were going through, getting ready for the Christmas event, I was going through with the site people, sort of like, uh-oh. They set the top up. The good part about it is that the breakdowns were very muted and very limited. They had to sort of relieve this overboughtness. How was that going to get relieved? And it got relieved relatively quietly, and you can see they've gone in and actually put in a little bit of a momentum bottom here. So this is a 4-hour chart. So my hunch is, just as when these M's came in up top here, at least, 4, 8, 12, 24 hours kind of idea. You're probably okay. How long lasting this counter trend rally is, man, it's anybody's guess. I'll say that if we actually put in, I had even put out tweets and stuff to this morning to the effect that if we go and put in a big honkin' W here, something along these kind of lines, if we do that now, this could turn into one hell of a powerful rally here, folks. And, here's the kick in the pants. Is anybody talking about the crazy $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 Bitcoin anymore? I mean, it's like that's completely off everybody's mind. Could this thing just wanted to wait another month or two before it do its insane rip move? Sure. We're going to do any old damn thing at once. Somebody was critical of me recently because I was saying that... Brian, you were saying moon there, and then you go out and put, comments out on social media about bearish divergences and how we should have all respected that. I gotta say, hey, this was a bear div. It confirmed, and you had better have respected it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Could the market take the time, clean up the bear div, put in a bull div now, and go and W out and continue on its merry way from a substantially lower base? So this is where you're supposed to buy versus being long from up here? Sure. That happens in the market all the time. So anyway, point I would just say is maybe the market needed to take a few months just to clean itself up, get that overbought condition. This is one of the reasons why I built this particular indicator that I teach in the program, the Willie. It's a fantastic tool just to simply tell you, and this may be a totally awesome asset to buy, man. It's just the best thing since sliced bread. But buying it right there, right then, maybe not the best idea. I tell you, sometimes this darn indicator can just sit overbought for very long periods of time and drive you nuts. But I'll tell you, man, I've been working with this darn indicator for about 10 years. It does a very, very good job of just keeping you honest. And ironically enough, we actually had a situation here where the sentiment got so bad in the space, we almost got oversold. How does that go? We were just ridiculously overbought. Oh my God, this is just got trouble written all over bear divs. Oh my God, this guy's gonna fall. Hey, actually, we're oversold. We got bull divs. We got W's and RSIs. All we need now is, like I said off of that other chart, just give me some goddamn W to work with. Like, come down here, right, hold these lows, then turn back up, big old W, and this thing could go apeshit. And considering the way a lot of altcoins are acting right now, I get the feeling that's what's going to happen. Now, no guarantees from the management. Brian's just talking out his ass. He's just one trader from another. There's nothing's written in stone, but one thing I've noticed over the years is Bitcoin sort of like, I would, believe it or not, actually, I would actually consider, remember Allen putting the top in the market back here. And then really this was all about the Coinbase IPO. I might argue that really that's just a sideways market. There's not really a hell of a lot. There's not a lot of bad going on here. It's just a sideways market. And what I've noticed in this space, what I said there a moment ago, is you'll get Bitcoin in these sideways consolidation markets, and that's when the altcoins they just go crazy. And I think that's what's happened. Anybody who happens to be involved in this crazy story, this is the definition of crazy if I've ever seen it. I mean, gee whiz, this thing's $50. Actually, we have a rule in the site, which is a little bit scary looking at that. What's our rule? Actually, I don't even know whether... it's weird, because I don't directly teach these classes anymore. I don't even know whether you guys even hear my rules. But how would I historically have determined whether we were in a blow-off top for a commodity market? Is there some sort of rule? Oh, by the way, it's happened here. So, not hearing a lot of responses, so I doubt anybody remembers this from years gone by. But my rule, especially, because remember, I was a commodities broker. If the price of the commodity itself doubles in under 3 or 4 months at time, especially really under 6 months, but under 3 or 4 months, you definitely know it's going parabolic. And you can see, I mean, this silly thing was, $50 back at the beginning in December, and here we are knocking on $100. That's basically doubling. or in less than a month. I mean, is that realistic growth rate? Come on, people. Doesn't mean this thing can't keep going and going and going, but, you know, maybe a period of consolidation, just try and clean up the excess. Yeah, it seems logical. You know, usually what I actually have to try and teach people is you don't really want to come in on a market right up here. What you really want to do, I mean, the best case scenario, good old reload zones. And how ironic, this is the reload zone of that range. You can see that 61.8, the original W there. That's basically the reload zone, the bottom of the reload zone now for that range right there. 78.6 right there. So, you know, the way I would kind of be thinking about this, there's some sort of blow off top event here, then the thing will dump, correction, right? And this is what we call sort of our in fact, that's why I name it this, right? Our reloading. You buy, you sell halves on doubles, whatever. And then as the price dips back down into support, starts putting in W's, you reload those positions. So I would say same thing here. You know, you don't necessarily need to be calling a top here. Oh my God, this is the end of the story. Because frankly speaking, I think this stuff's still got tons and tons of gas in the tank. But could we use a period of sort of, you know, calming down? My hunch is, what do you think the odds are? Number one, is this stuff overbought? Remember my funny little indicator I was telling you about? Oh, gee whiz. Willie got up to look at this number here in yellow, right? Remember, a reading above -20 is overbought. So what's that yellow number there? Look at the teal number. You don't see that every day. It's at -1. It can only go to 0. I mean, it can't go any higher than that. You can see, oh, look, there was a -0.04. That's pretty low. But it's the moving average itself. You can see it's the same logic as here. Right, you come in and buy here, and you might have to go through one of these dips where, you know, if the market has to correct, you might be sitting there going, oh God, I'm dying 1,000 deaths. I bought up here. Just be aware of that. That's the way this game works. And then notice, look at this. Let's take Willie stupidly oversold. If you see this yellow number here, less than -80, that's actually oversold. So how quickly goes overbought to oversold to, oh geez, we're back to overbought again. So, you know, just be forewarned. Also too, if you think about things like momentum, you can see we were making higher highs in price. But just think of it this way. This is the easiest way for you to understand price momentum. You see how big this move is here from here to here, right? And then you also see, look how big this move is here to here. But notice that when we go here to here, that's kind of getting smaller. Then I don't know whether we made new highs here or not. But even just off of that, you can see that this move here isn't nearly as big as this move or this move. And you can see that in the momentum. This is this push right here, this last push. Notice it made a lower high there. So that's what we call divergence. I would say it's potential right now. Doesn't necessarily mean it's confirmed bear. Just sort of warning signs that, hey, you know, maybe I'm, maybe I'm not as strong as I'm leading you to believe. Sort of what it looks like here, but this actually isn't too bad as long as we don't go through that low there. If we could actually even, this is why I like to say you don't want to front run divergence. So you can see the divergence signal is, and actually there's even another one over here that I think did confirm. Let's yeah, that's over here, so that's even bigger, but just for the purposes of this, let's go like this, and we'll get rid of that. We'll go there, and we'll go there. Alright, so that high there is 195, and that high is 181. So this, unfortunately, this divergence does confirm on that event right there. Boom. When we go through that low right there. So basically what this is saying, that's all this right there. As of this event right here, interesting. As of this event right here, the market's sort of saying, you know, if you're a bull, maybe just cool your jets. Just let things settle down. Then we have another potential divergence coming in here. So lots of sort of, you know, maybe just cool your jets. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, $100, big fat round number. We kind of talked about $100 needed to be tagged. Looks like we're up against a channel line. We also have a couple Foggenbaum constant levels here. So it doesn't surprise me there's this big fight right up here. So I would just simply say the easiest message to you guys is, you know, it's probably not the best place to be thinking about buying something like this here. But what a hell of a move, eh? I mean, like if we look at the daily chart, the point I was trying to make there a moment ago with regard to the corn is, does it not make sense that at some point Bitcoin's gonna turn around and go, what the fuck are these kids doing? How dare they rally while I sit and consolidate? At some point, Bitcoin's going to go, I'm the real show here, folks. So that's sort of my thinking of what could transpire here. Interesting to see Ethereum not participating as much. Some of the other DeFi names, I thought it was really interesting. We've got this this really cool product. I'm not really ready to market it yet. We're sort of just beta testing. We're beta testing at the point where I actually want people to start paying us some actual money for this information, but it's a very, very low price. And it's actually really just specifically as a treat for our community, long-standing members and some recent new members. They're just getting really lucky. They just happen to come in right at the exact good time. But we finally have this bad boy, our breadth, Brian's 1980s website concept, the DI. This platform has now basically been built out. I'm so proud of Sjord. Took a very, very long time to do it. And in essence, this is sort of step one of like we actually have a marketable product. And that's basically the marketable product in a nutshell. Some basic screeners across multiple different asset types, stocks, crypto, and some of my favorite technical criteria that I like to look for, and then this concept of breadth, being able to just sort of get an idea that the whole market actually moves in unison. It's not just like one issue itself. So, if we actually look at the breadth screen, you can see the market's looking like it's feeling a little bit uppy here, eh? Which I guess kind of makes sense. Usually this is what's supposed to happen. They call it the Santa Claus rally. So, not really a big surprise. Nice to see, actually it was interesting. Australia sort of led us. They were the first ones to start perking up, which probably means that, Asia's feeling a little bit better. I noticed on our leaderboard, things like Taiwan Semiconductor, these are the big ETFs that we follow. This thing, the market just loves this. And, hopefully, longtime site members and students of mine will probably recognize a bullish bot setup that's firing there. But this is Taiwan. Of course, Taiwan's got that big Taiwan Semiconductor. I think that's definitely a stock in play here going forward. Also, too, I thought it was interesting, Billy Gates, he was all rah-rah bullish of Mexico. So what a surprise. Mexico seeing a lot of money pouring into it right now. It's also on our leaderboards. It doesn't surprise me. Basically Gates told us at the beginning of this crisis that Mexico should do pretty well, and you tell me. This is just actually from the 2020 fall lows. What do you think? Has Mexico done pretty well? I'd say so. Also, I thought it was really interesting to see funny names that I would not have expected. And actually, these are a couple healthcare ETFs, but I did see things like Switzerland was on the leaderboard, so that surprised me a little bit. Interesting down pointing ETFs. This makes a lot of sense to me because I'm rather worried about the international bond market. So we're getting lots, and also too interesting, for site members, I do a lot of sort of commentary, and the way that I sort of like to look at the market is risk on proxies are things like equity investments, your beloved commodities like oil that's basically used in industrial capacity and consumed, and beloved things like cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Risk off are things like the bond market, right? It's supposed to be guaranteed investment, fixed coupon. Of course, if you have inflation worries, if that is a fixed coupon, then that means that if interest rates are going up, bond prices have to go down. And I hate to say it, folks, but I think we're in basically about a 30 to 40 year rising interest rate environment now. Exactly opposite to what everybody in the world thinks. So, typical Brian. The interesting caveat to the risk offers, like Japanese yen would also be a great risk offer. Basically, risk on. The Fed's got control of the world economy. Everybody's going out and borrowing U.S. dollars, using the U.S. dollar system. Fed's happy. They collect the spread. The bankers win. Blah, blah, blah. You know how the story goes. If the market is bailing out of the U.S. dollar and bailing into things like Japanese yen, then that is a holy shit, the whole Western system's collapsing. Let's go bury our head in Asia. And interestingly enough, when the Chinese story, the economic expansion story there was going great guns, the yen was getting smoked. So remember, the Chinese yuan, ironically enough, is actually pegged to the U.S. dollar. So if you are a China bull, you want to be a U.S. dollar bull too, which is a bit ironic, but anyway. Yeah, well, maybe not. Debate could go back and forth. Anyway. So, point here is risk honors. It looks to me like risk is catching a bid here, and I think our and the bond market is risk off. Looks in trouble. I gotta say, our breadth indicator bonds not happy at all here, and the utilities are actually starting to roll over here. So good information out of our bond proxies, and actually a really great way to see this is bonds. Just take a quick boo at our interest rate environment. On balance, if you see falling prices here, it means interest rates are rising. If you see rising prices here, it means interest rates are falling. So, from the upper left to the lower right, rising interest rates, 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 rising interest rates. Is there a bit of a theme here? Rising interest rates, rising interest rates. Somewhat okay, but still generally rising. A little bit of a bottom here, though. And remember, we talked about this. These are the longer bonds. So this is like the yield curve is flattening out. But rising interest rates. Maybe a little flatter, but still rising interest rates, rising interest rates. And then, of course, things like short term, and I've talked to site members a lot about this is basically the yield curve flattening. And, of course, as soon as the rule is 3 steps and a stumble. So you can see that the short-term interest rate market is already rising. They're just waiting for the Fed to actually act. And the farther and farther the spread goes between the Fed funds and these kind of markets, the closer and closer we get to a financial crisis. You can see that image, right? Not there. What the hell have I done here? right. Oh, I did the same thing. Not that one. Where am I going? Here. That is what I want to show you. So, maybe it isn't. I thought I had the TED spread on here, don't I? Nope, I don't see it. All right. Anyway, our interest rate. I guess I have it on a different chart. Oh, geez, that was so smooth there. I thought I pulled it off. Anyway, TED spread. Here we are. So, remember I showed you on our and this is so great. I mean, this is we now have the tools. Like basically, this is our data. This is our image. You can clearly see short-term interest rates are rising here. If we go to this image, this is the spread between the Fed funds rates and those corporate interest rates. You know, like this is the corporate bond market right here, right? iShares short treasury bond ETF, so that's the U.S. government right there. iShares 1 to 3 years, so those are that's a very, very short-term paper. Here is that corporate bond market. Look at the way they're crapping out here. So what this image here is telling us is you notice that there's this head and shoulders and this is ratcheting higher. So the corporate interest rate market in the short term is rising faster than the Fed funds part of the short-term interest rate market, or that government guaranteed part of the short-term interest rate market. The Fed funds, they haven't done anything. So what it means is the corporate interest rate market is rising. The Fed funds haven't done anything. And as I said to you before, if this breaches 1.0, we are officially in financial crisis. So you can see this was through the late part of 9/11. So where's 9/11? 9/11 is right there, right in there. The sort of financial crisis following 9/11 and the whole sort of terrorist scare and the war on terrorism, that was that. And then, of course, this is the GFC, Great Financial Crisis, all that nonsense. So we're not there by any stretch of the imagination. We're not in a stressed out market. But I think probably the most important message out of this is that's a hell of an inverted head and shoulders. That's a good looking base. So I get the impression that this was trending down, i.e. more than enough liquidity, everything's fine, maybe even potentially too much liquidity. Now we're getting the trend has been established. The people are using up the corporate paper. The corporate rates are going higher. Their credit is being stretched. The Fed has got to respect this. If they let this get out of control and this starts jackknifing higher, then of course potential crisis. But my hunch is the Fed's going to, at some point here over the next few months, start raising interest rates just like they've told us. So they're telegraphing this perfectly fine. And the general rule is 3 steps and a stumble. So if that's the case, my hunch is these long bonds, and actually the best image is this, these long bonds could be in big trouble. Because basically the Fed said, hey, we're not going to be buying any more of these long bonds. And, you tell me, does that look like a chart pattern that if we were bearish, we'd kind of be interested in? How about that one? Isn't that a double top breakdown? And I think this is going to absolutely destroy the international economy. Something, like this market collapsing is what's probably going to destroy and finally bring an end to this stupid, insane sort of Fakese Canadian real estate nonsense. The only problem is how bad does bad get? And bad could get really, really bad here. So be forewarned, Canadians. Pay off your debts. Don't get caught by the short and curlies, because these goddamn Canadian bankers, they are cock fucking suckers. Boom! There's a sound bite. They are merciless. As long as everything's working in their favor, they're your best friend. But I've lived through environments where they will lie blatantly to your face. When they first introduced bank machines, the presidents of these goddamn banks came out publicly, said, I can find the news articles, they will not get rid of any bank employees with the introduction of bank machines. What do you think? Did they keep their promise? I mean, it's pathetic. So don't think that these bankers are your friends. They are not, by any stretch of the imagination. I'm really worried for this country of Canada, and I've gone on at length that we have no fiscal responsibility right now, and our dear leaders have actually just turned everything over to the bankers. What are you, crazy? So anyway, I won't go down that. All I'm just going to simply say is I think the writing's on the wall. So, just respect the message. The good part about this is it's not, it's this stupid overdevelopment of real estate that could get absolutely smashed here. But the irony of it all is that, and of course, if you carry debt, you kind of get screwed by the system anyway. I mean, how do they justify, short-term interest rates are at 0, and yet the credit cards can still continue to charge 20-30% interest and not even think twice about it? I mean, there's such a fundamental flaw in our society. It just doesn't make any sense, and it's basically criminal. It's usury. That's basically the definition of usury if I've ever heard of it. And what I'm really worried about, of course, as a Canadian, is everybody and their brother in Canada has decided to go and take lines of credit out on their houses, and they're all living off of borrowed money, driving their Lambos, got to keep up with the appearances with the next door neighbors. You drive down the street in Vancouver, and there are no cars that are over the 5 to 10 years old. None. It's freaky. It's so baffling. I've never seen anything like this. And it's all predicated on this free money that I think is coming to an end very soon. So do yourself a favor and just pay off all your damn debts. That's the most important thing I think you can do. Anyway, I think as long as this sickness, and of course this Christmas holiday has been completely ruined by this sickness. I'm hearing that, airlines are canceling flights right, left, and center. There's these cruise ships. There are huge outbreaks. If I understand correctly, this particular variant is extremely contagious, and everybody and their brother is going to get it. Do the hospitals get overwhelmed? And that's really the question. Ironically enough, when it comes to these stupid money issues, it doesn't really have anything to do with the amount of people that are going to die. It has to do with how much money the system's going to have to spend to try and keep these people alive in hospitals. And do the hospitals just get absolutely overwhelmed? And then we're just, there's Billy Gates, hey, dead bodies in the streets. Did find it interesting, Sharktoshi, for whatever it's worth, one of our longtime members at TRI was handing out one doctor. I listened to him and he said, why aren't people talking about treatment? Okay, fine, you get diagnosed. What's the best thing to do once you've been diagnosed? How do you sort of set yourself up to fight and win the fight? No, just go home, don't do anything for 2 or 3 weeks. When you're right on the cusp of death, then come and talk to us. Now, how does that make any sense at all? So frustrating. But thank you, Sharky, for posting that video. At least it's eye-opening. There are a few things I think you can do if you do get ill with this thing that might help you fare a little better than just not doing anything. So thanks, Shark. I appreciate that. So interesting also, as long as the sickness is as bad as it is and things are spiraling out of control and we might have more lockdowns and stuff, then that'll be more money printing. That'll be more, free money, which will translate into more inflation, which will, and here's the kick in the pants. Remember I started all this conversation off just a few minutes ago saying that I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin puts in a bottom and just takes off here. Does it make sense that if they have to go and shut everything down, good old Japan is going to walk over to Congress and go, oh, you better do something, right? That shouldn't we debate mortgaging our future? Doesn't this sound like deja vu? I mean, haven't we done this whole damn thing all before? And this goddamn market takes off like a rocket. But what we need is that catalyst. Right now, as it stands, I don't think these markets can move in higher, in earnest, without a big whack of more free money. So, I think that the socialists tried really, really hard with just pure economics. Without the, lockdowns or any of that kind of stuff. And it just didn't work. Thank heavens there's enough sort of, right wing sort of conservative leaning politicians within the U.S. government that kind of went, enough is enough. Could that whole sort of fiscal conservatism, which is, I think, would sort of stabilize the market and make you believe that, hey, we're not going to have runaway price inflation. But I get the impression that that right-wing conservatism movement will be just swept aside in a heartbeat if they start going back down into lockdown talk. So, keep your eyes peeled for that. I suppose you could argue that, when we are fully on the other side of this, we should see the Fed start to raise interest rates, and the rule is 3 steps and a stumble. Once we see the Fed raise interest rates 3 consecutive times, then I think you have to start getting very, very concerned that, number one, they're pulling the punch bowl away. Anytime they pull the punch bowl away, you see what happens to Bitcoin. It comes off appreciably in all risk assets. And probably won't bottom until they end that interest rate raising cycle. Which, ironically enough, it's fascinating how this stuff all seems to work together. Because if it's one thing that I've been barking about for a while now on the site is, and this is the great part about this site, is it's all right at our fingertips now. Good old Josh been writing up the blog and the Benner cycle. I mean, do you want to fight this? It's up to you. My suggestion is this guy, and actually this goes back even way before that. This guy actually wrote this Benner cycle like late 17th, early 18th century. I mean, ridiculous. Seriously, that long ago. And it's just the market moves in extremely consistent patterns. And, let's call a spade a spade. You see 2023 here. That's supposed to be the trough. So that means we're probably supposed to top somewhere in 2022, which is probably like one of these kind of things, like sort of maybe a mid sort of pivot and trough. And I like the idea of Bitcoin troughing somewhere around, I don't know, maybe March, April of 2023. I like that thinking a lot. It sits well with me. So there you go. Usually the Fed moves on an interest rate cycle about 18 months or so. Where can I show you that? I don't know where this will show you now. Let's see. That's a spread. Yeah, I'd have to have a Fed funds future. Maybe I have something here. What do I have here? So there's a yield curve right now. Relatively healthy. Here's our orange. So here's the so here's the last interest rate rising cycle from there to there. So actually it was pretty long. And you remember Trump, right, was barking at the Fed that they had interest rates way too high. Oh boy, they sure brought them down in a hurry, didn't they? So I think that this interest rate cycle rate increases were just killing the market. And of course, when did Bitcoin top out? Bitcoin topped out right here. And when did it bottom out? Bottomed out, basically. Right there. So this is kind of like 3 steps in a stumble. This area would be the 3 steps. So we're raising. Market still feels good. We're raising. We're raising. Then the market goes, okay, enough is enough. We can't handle anymore. And it breaks. And then you go through sort of a year or so of the market cleaning up. And they sort of exhaust themselves. And remember, the Fed always acts late. They always. They're behind the curve. They follow employment data. So, Trump's going crazy. For God's sakes, lower interest rates, right? And they just go, whatever. Then the economy really starts to show signs that it's really buckling. And so they go, okay, fine, we'll lower interest rates. And then it's usually too late, and the market breaks, and then they're in crisis mode, and they're just throwing money at the market, and it just goes back and forth, back and forth. Actually, really bad policy, to be honest with you. But, what can you do? The emperor's got no clothes on. We all spend way more money than we bring in these Western societies. We're completely living in this debt cycle world. Thanks, Woodrow Wilson. He was the one who sort of started this whole damn thing off. And actually, it makes sense, too, because in essence, that was the beginning of, number one, something like an income taxation, which was absolutely unheard of concept last century. I guess, 19th century. And then the idea that the government will turn the money management over to the bankers, and government debt is actually the basis for the currency, but the principle there is that the government never pays the debt back because the debt itself is the currency. So I think this system's probably got on its last legs, and we're just limping our way through here. Well, we're gonna, and of course you guys all know this is coming. It'd be interesting to see what the end result is. Do we stick with this U.S. dollar index? Does U.S. dollar index actually... I wouldn't be surprised, and you guys are going to hate this, but I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. government, like in some sort of crazy currency crisis, nationalizes Bitcoin or something like that and actually makes it part of the U.S. dollar index or something along those lines to actually give the currency some value. It wouldn't surprise me. Well, we'll see. Only time will tell. Back to more fun conversations. Now that we're coming into the year end, this is a really good time of year to invest in venture capital. So, for site members, I would keep a real close eye on... what I noticed is the one system that I used to trade when I was a commodities trader was the 50% rule. And I noticed that in crypto there are some really, really juicy names. And I was like, oh my God, look at these when I showed the site members recently. Where are we here? These guys. Like this image is just so beautiful, it's ridiculous. Look at that. This is like a bottom fisher's wet dream. These names are just so perfect. Look at that beautiful double bottom down there. So these are the kind of names we've been talking about on the site quite a bit recently. Really like I don't know what this cream does. Anybody know what the story behind this cream is? That sure looks interesting. There's actually, it's interesting. On Thursday, Julian does a show on the site, and he was saying he was super bullish of Litecoin, and I noticed there's a interesting little Litecoin derivative proxy that just, oh my goodness. Even if these trade ideas take 2 or 3 W's to actually work, there's so much money to be made to the upside when these things get going. It's worth taking a few shots here against the bottoms. Like this OMG. I don't know whether that is the lows and the bottom, but if I had to take like 2 or 3 stabs where that's my risk window, and if I'm right, this huge box is my reward window, I'll take those shots. anyway, super cool to see. This is a really good application of the screener information. Like I put the tweet out the other day. I was just like, it's alive. That's the kind of stuff, you know. Just spit out this stuff on a daily basis. But, taking a long time to get here. So super pleased with that. Thought it was interesting, you know, specifically talking about Bitcoin now. Sort of made mention, I put out a tweet a while ago about bearish divs. Better respect those, right? And then I thought it was interesting, we had a bullish div come in here now. Could confirm, but we got a bit of a problem here because I don't get a buy signal until I get a W on the other side of this trend line. And notice, we just broke out through the trend line, basically went straight up. I don't have a buy signal there. I want to be your best friend. I really do. But I can't come out and say, you know, hey, you're going to make a shitload of money, just go and buy this. I can't do it in good consciousness. A couple of things that jumped out at me, you know, looking at that. Like, first, as I said, I got to see a W, which means that I got to see some sort of down price action. Then maybe some up, then like something like that, or you know, something along those lines. Notice a 3-bar pattern here, and of course today being Boxing Day. I actually thought, I mean, typical Chinese, I would have thought they would have shit on us right on Christmas Day. But actually they gave us a day off. So, but you can see, boom, 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 3-bar fractal, sell signal. So that's not good. Then somebody on the site pointed out that if actually I just drill down to, say, a 4-hour chart, geez Louise, what's this? So yeah, we had that higher time frame bull div, but hopefully what you see is off the lower time frames, bang, boom, boom. Remember, if we go through the middle, it means it's confirmed right there. Confirmed bear div. So if you are a Bitcoin bull and you see this confirmed bearish divergence, what should you do? If you make sure that all of your trade setups produce $2 of reward for $1 of risk taken, how often do you have to be right to be a scratch trader? Excellent, Khalid. Cool your jets and YouTube influencers are opening their longs at 50K. Uh-oh, Jesus, that's scary. Cool your jets. Nice, Jonathan. I mean, really, folks. I'm here to try and help you. Like, seriously. The whole point that we make of this damn cool your jets bearish divergence, it's here to help you. I'm not here to be fucking arrogant or, you know, hell, I don't even want to grind you for subscriptions. My chief marketing guy here is pulling his hair out at the amount of money that I'm charging you for this damn screener thing, but it's still in beta right now. We're just getting it launched, right? That's the story, right, Josh? But the point being, you know, if you are listening to me for the first time, you're like, gee whiz, this guy, he's a kind of a weirdo. He's not selling anything. He's not shilling anything. He just doesn't. He's swearing like a sailor. So obviously he's not. He's not politically correct. So, I mean, believe it or not, I'm here to try and help you. I really am. And this is one thing that you can learn. This concept called bearish momentum divergence. And really, you'd be best just to let this play itself out. And really, all that means is show me a nice big W here. Rawr, give me something, you know, bust this out. Go away, loser. Yeah. Anyway, so, you know, like I said there a moment ago, we had actually a fractal fail. And I remember it said, usually OK Coin loves to shit on the Western kids for Christmas. So notice, I thought this was interesting, considering Christmas. What does this sort of look like? Is this an accident? I don't know. Maybe. Or was this done on purpose? I don't know. Isn't that cute? So this is the star for baby Jesus. Right on baby Jesus' day. Look at that. 24th of December, right at the top of the hour. Where's 25th? So okay, this makes sense. So Christmas Eve, right? So that's baby Jesus still in mama's yaya. And you know, who knows at what time on the evening of the 24th, JC out he came. And interesting, literally on 25th. Okay, go ahead. You got permission to shit on the crypto kids. It's like perfect. Absolutely perfect. The only problem with this is I was joking about this earlier. The only problem with this scenario is, where do I have it? Here. I get the impression that this market was too strong. Remember we had talked, like there was like a week or something where we literally were like, what the hell is this market gonna do? Because it just kept going back and forth, back and forth. Look how long this channel is. I mean, this is crazy. Very long channel. Literally, you could probably say all the way back to there. Just what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And we broke out to the bulls side. So this is an extremely bullish bet. It's not bet, vote, right? Very, very bullish. So market's working its way higher, and it's got another W following this big breakout. Very strong market. This is very strong. Anecdotal evidence. Where's that Great Del Moody guy, right? What does a market that looks very, very strong internally look like? It looks like this, with this massive base here. So, yeah, market popped up. There's our Christmas event. Was this buy the rumor, sell the news? There's the buy the rumor into Christmas, and then here comes the sell the news. Thing is that the tops were just so weak, right? Like what I usually say is the first M, we color that teal, so that sort of stops. In this case, it was a big bull. Rah, look at me, I'm a bull. So this sort of stops the bull. It's not really a sell signal. It's just sort of bulls, you better just calm down. Then the next one comes in, and I usually color this one yellow, something like that. And I don't know, I think it was like that one. There to there to there. And that comes in at like 65, way, way above the 50 line. The 50 line's like way down here. That's your midpoint. Am I really a bull or a bear? So this is like a sell signal within a very strong bull market. Not really a trade. And I wouldn't suggest you take these trades because you can see it translated into almost nothing. Yes, price did go down by like a few pennies, but not really huge. And then if this thing goes and M's out again, then that's like the third M, and I usually color that purple, but I think I was doing charts out earlier that I was coloring it orange, just so you could see the difference in color. And this is actually usually, this point here is usually when the noobs come in on the trade. So there's the end of the bull. There's the actual short. Here comes the noobs late to the party, almost always. And then notice here comes the W after the noob push. And you notice that, you know, the noob push, that's from here. They're selling on this candle here right into the bottom. So really not a very good trade at all. All right, so that's the confirmed is this candle to that candle, that one to that one. So in essence, the noobs are coming in and selling this. Oh, way to go. Notice, oh no, what happened? Noobs are all short. They're all expecting big dump. And lo and behold, look what comes in, a new W. And on the first W, we should, just like we did here, first W, we color that teal. And that means that the bear should be on pause. Stop. Don't do anything. Now, if this still is a bear, we'd probably rally back up, then do something like that. And then you can see, oh boy, if you get like first M here, that's going to be teal. So that stops whatever bull push. And then we get this big honking thing comes in here. Right, and this goes push down here. So this big yellow second trend through the 50 line. That comes in. That's a holy fucking sheep shit. That's a massive sell. Run for the hills. Let's hope that doesn't happen. I would prefer that not happen, but you know, if it does, of course, I'll be more than happy to report it. As you can see, as it stands right now, the bears have just been told, hey, cool your jets. Go back to sleep. The noobs, of course, they're getting flushed out now, so they're probably going to run their stops. And if we're lucky, and this is what I think most people here would love to see, I suppose. Mind you, I do know there was one guy on the site that actually did short that diamond, and he's playing that 4-hour bear div on the MACD, so congrats. This is a perfectly fine trade. And you're rooting for this to go boom, right? And bust out to a new low, and maybe even put in a nice little M there. So we get the new teal line, blah, 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 like I said there a moment ago. If you're short, that's what you're rooting for, right? You want to see something like that. I think most people here would prefer not that the market shit its pants. What we would love to see, since the first W's already been put in, is come back down against these lows and then put in another one. And if that's up through the 50 line, which it appears to be, that'll be a pretty good looking buy signal. So that's what I think everybody would love to see. Especially heading, mind you, I think tomorrow's a holiday, isn't it? So, so somebody over there on YouTube says, wouldn't be surprised if we get an FU move. Does it not make sense that we could get an FU move in price that that runs everybody out, that, you know, everybody's all nice and optimistic? You know, right in here, maybe we get like another push down, FU, run these stops. Right, we always say we really want to see that W on the other side of the trend line, eh? There still isn't any W there. But this dump, whatever this looks like, it brings this back, and we do not break to new lows. We maybe break to new lows with price, but we don't break to new lows in the RSI indicator. And then we turn back up, something like that. Maybe go like, yeah, well, that's fine, something like that. And the RSI indicator holds the lows, and we get that second W, the yellow W, on a bull div. Ooh, that could set up. And then you get a nice little W in here, and away we go, rock and roll. In fact, that'd be a nice little inverted head and shoulders. So that would be sort of like the bull scenario that I would be shooting for. And Jonathan, your comment with FUs, I actually kind of like that. You know, this is it's not ready to form a W yet, but I could see an inverted head and shoulders where that FU is that head move. It would also give us sort of like, you know, megaphone, 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows to set us up for the megaphone move up top, which would be something like there. And that would take us up into this area up here. And actually, I've heard a lot of people on social media actually commenting about 53, 54,000 too. So I kind of like that thinking as well. All right. Well, I hope you got some value out of all that. All right. It's getting on 11 o'clock. I have to go get pretty for the boy. Looks like it's still a pretty clear day. No snow. Everybody, I need you to karmically, all collectively, we want to wish Liam, number 1, is in good spirits, and number 2, Brian doesn't drive his damn, yeah, I got the bacon ready, doesn't drive the damn car off the road. Liam loves his car rides, and if it's one thing that's a bit challenging right now, it's car rides with no fucking winter tires. Brian, you idiot. Oh, well. All right, so Jonathan says great BTC analysis. All right, good. All right, anything else we should talk about? I gotta say, for the people that are on the site, not really shilling it. Really, I would prefer that we just sort of keep this to site members for the time being. But it's great to see, actually. Let's go over here. This is kind of a funny one. Sjord's built this breadth tool. I've got to say, on balance, that's not a bad image for crypto. And of course, there are some names like the Matic. I mean, I'm actually surprised this Matic. I think it just keeps making new highs. Crypto's a bear market? I don't think so. I don't know what crypto you're trading, buddy. All right, well, okay, maybe there's Luna. Maybe there's not such a bull market there. I don't know what the hell crypto you're sniffing. That looks like a bull to me. So, in a weird sort of way, you got enough of those kind of names, and not a big surprise the breadth looks like this. There's a lot of this market that's actually pretty darn happy. Remember, some of these are pointing back up as well. Oh, geez, look, that guy's just getting going. Look at that beautiful W down there. So that's the kind of signal I want to see in our system, telling you guys, hey, pay attention to the W's. So, and interesting, I mean, is that not a who's who of who's hot in crypto right now? Matic, AVAX, Atom, Luna, and Ethereum. Bitcoin, you're not even invited to the party. Get the fuck out of here. Stupid punk. Now, this is kind of funny. This is one of the things. This is why we don't want to go mainstream just yet with this. Why we're doing it sort of, Brian undercover kind of marketing. Not really. Just I want it up and running. So we still got to figure this out. This is kind of a funny one because quite literally this is probably AVAX in a number of different markets. So versus USDT versus Euro. This is how robust the system is versus, this is versus USDB. I think that's Binance's US dollar proxy, if I'm not mistaken. This is AVAX versus BIDR. What the fuck is that? I don't even know what that is. And this is versus Australian dollars. So take your pick. I thought it's just kind of, it's interesting. This looks like it's an error, but it isn't. It's just that we cover so many markets that this thing's coming up as the top scorer, and it's coming across a whole bunch of different assets. I think that's pretty impressive, if you ask me. Now, for the purposes of reporting in your email, I want to see like the top 5 different names. We might put a little sort of criteria in here. They have to be different names. They can't all be the same thing. But I thought that was pretty darn impressive. And it just how very thorough a job Sjord has done here with this data set. Really impressive. And then, of course, all the signals. I think I started off the conversation. I mean, the issue with... how do we say this? The issue with what I would consider half decent trades is a lot of the times when I'm buying stuff and I'll mention it to the public, they're just not going to be that interested. And of course, I like the fact that all of my screeners are all in these various different asset categories, and if you're a crypto fan, boom, basically this is your shopping list on a daily basis. And of course, a lot of these names, God, we've seen those so many times. I mean, Algo, we all know Algo. I get angry every time I look at this damn thing because of Trex and their silly games. BCD, is that Bitcoin Diamond? There's BC. Whoa, look at that, perking up nicely. And I noticed that, actually, I've noticed this a few times. I noticed that there's a bunch of these little poop coins that are really perking up here. So, IOTX, remember IOTA? I think this is IOTA, isn't it? Jeez, isn't that interesting? Look at that, it's so dormant. It's like total single ticks price action now. I mean, I don't even know whether you can even touch something like that. It's fascinating to see them all turning up, though. Is the tax law selling sort of done here for these little junior names? I mean, they got it. Look at that. I mean, if they do get their act together, and I'm not saying that they will, but if they do, you can see names like this. They got a ton of room to run up here. So it is interesting that the screeners are all saying, hey, pay attention. You know, when I go through the list just manually, even this morning when I woke up, just sort of talking to the community, I noticed there's names like, I've always loved these guys, but man, they just can't get out of their own way, it seems. But good old Ubik and Geo. I see they're trying to pump Geo. I mean, look at that. You know, if this thing had a half-decent story behind it, that would be a no-brainer. It's just, why? Look at these, the bull divs. Everything's in place. Bottom end of the range. Look at Willie's washed out. Look at even of RSI compressing here. I mean, this thing's ready to go. So, will it go? I don't know. But, you know, kind of what I was just saying there a moment ago. It's cool to see that the screeners are, you know, they're spitting these names up on a daily basis. I mean, that's what I love about this. Lots and lots of stuff to consider. This is just from the 24th, day before Christmas. Look at that cute little chart. I mean, the good part about this is hopefully you can see that, you know, at the very least, you're not chasing. The public usually buys this or they buy this, right? They're chasing. At least when you look at something like this and, hey, somebody's come in here and put some money down. What is that? What's that volume bar there? Oh, I can't see it. Anyway, you can see somebody put some money down there. Well, it's fascinating because there's a bunch of stocks, of course, that I'm doing the same thing on. Tax law selling. But sure is some interesting names. This actually is still stocks information, though, from previous screens. So don't really do anything off of these. But I am interested to see, especially, you know, these two screeners probably right now, killer. The key reversals, I'm still watching whether they actually work in crypto, and really what I'm really interested in is I want location. So not really overly excited about the key reversals anywhere, but if I get them in good location, oh boy, does that ever get me excited. But things like, and I showed you this to begin the conversation off, you know, like these names here, Jesus, there's some really good looking bargains down there. I don't know. You know, if you do participate in the poop coin market, sure look like there's some interesting ideas out there. Especially that OMG. Look at that. Eh? They just ripped that thing. And good old Verge. Is Verge back to 2 sats? Remember, I think I said I originally bought my Verge at 2 sats, but I don't know whether that's the same thing or not. That's at 0. I'm not quite sure what that means. Anyway. Okay, so gave you my 2 cents on Bitcoin. I talked a little bit about some of the other names, and you know, gave you a few ideas that the system I think likes, but along the lines of this Geo. I'm surprised that Geo isn't on that list. You know, Justin's, and I used to always call this Justin's son's coin, but people are like, Brian, he doesn't own this. But gee whiz, look at that thing. Literally right from where's Dog Money. There's Dog Money event right there. Just basically straight down. If this thing is at all alive, there should be at least a 4-fold rally on that thing. So mark my words. I reckon there's probably money to be made in that thing into the New Year. I bailed on this MIR, although I think you could make the argument if these W's do come in, it's probably a half decent idea for some sort of rally. So keep your eyes peeled on that one. I'm still in this AKT. It did fail through my key level. I was just waiting for that dead cat bounce to hop off of there. Anybody who was keeping tabs of that. This OXT sure looks interesting, eh? Look at that. So, you know, calms down, puts in a nice W against these lows. Might take a look at that. Nice bull div there. I think I noticed that some of the names that we were looking at, like library credits and stuff, I think they're starting to look attractive. Oh, and actually, the one cryptocurrency actually I'm trying to buy recently did get, ooh, nice. Yeah, did get filled a bit on this. So got filled on, oops. Got filled on Mountain Man, so actually those bids now are starting to work. Also got filled on 78.6. I had one more bid at 88.6 that didn't get filled. So my average on Danny's name here is somewhere right around there. So that looks like it's working nicely. Yeah, let's call it the better part of $4. So if we spike up into these highs, don't be surprised if you're hearing that I'm selling halves on double. So actually I'm glad. That's about one of the only names that I really have been buying in earnest lately, so it's working quite nicely. There you can see all those darn names from our list. Remember I told you, I don't know, there was AVAX. Which is the one, I guess it was Aave on Wednesday's show. I was kind of going, hey, that thing looks nice. And Link, same thing there. I thought maybe we did the, remember we did this study of the GAN, the square, and I kind of felt like maybe this thing needed a little bit more time to get through a speed bump, although I don't see it there. Mind you, that's sort of arbitrary. Quite sure where I did that. Might have been off of that. No, I don't see any speed bumps. I can't remember which one we looked at. Might have been versus Bitcoin. Oh, yeah. Okay, maybe it was this. Yeah, actually looks about right. Something like that. So I did like the idea that just simply, level tours using the market's vibrational signature. So there to there. Give us a pretty good idea of what the trend line is. It's not bad. And then, 2-to-1 supports versus resistance. And then 8-to-1 for trade location. Did like the idea that maybe Link needed to do a bit more work here, and I just wanted to get on the other side of this speed bump. So the only issue with the darn speed bumps is have I got the scaling correct, and are we actually on the outside of it or not? It's always open for debate. If I go with the vibrational signature levels, I think we're just in the speed bump still. So maybe find a W down in here on the other side of this time window. That might be good. And I do like that too. Like if you're going to invest in crypto for this next coming sort of, seasonal rally window, which I think is coming. I like the idea end of June, end of January, beginning of February. Maybe give, because we're going to have this January is going to be like January barometer stuff. So, and you see what's going on with this sickness right now. Don't be surprised that things are pretty weak now for the next couple of weeks. And that's going to be a reflection that things are pretty weak in the economy for the next little while, too. So, be forewarned, okay, everybody? So, something like that, I think you could use a little bit more time. But at the same time, too, we're coming up against key lows. We're back down in value. If we think about things like reload zones, just keep it really simple. I like the idea that if you are a fan of this thing, just keep your eyes peeled, right? There's 88.6, there's 78.6, there's 8-to-1 GAN angles, right? Nice dips down in here. Whoever was on social media there saying, I like one more FU, just to see if we can piss the kids off just a little bit. I actually don't mind that, thinking that FU, whatever that dip move is, I think that's actually a really good buying window. And we're finally through this. What do you think, guys? Do you like the fall? Hopefully you guys are all like, fall sucks, man. Finally we're at the end of this nightmare and we can start heading back up again. I hate this period of the market. Okay. Yeah. And maybe... well, and that's the cool part about it, right? Is we are now getting through the seasonal window. So if anything, it's kind of like the clocks right here in Vancouver because we're up by the North Pole. The sun goes down at like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just brutal this time of year. But the one consolation is the days as of right here, they only get longer now. I mean, we're right at the very worst of it, but it's only up from here. So, okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you guys all enjoyed the presentation. It wasn't really too much to talk about. Like I said, we keep an eye on the corn here, just simply because I think we're at an interesting level. If this thing can go and W out here, I think we got something to work with. In the short term, can we just get this to clean itself up and put in another W here? I think we actually could have something to work with, like for actually a bullish upside. Woohoo! So we're close, right? And if anything, as I said earlier, with the fact that things like Luna and all these DeFi names are as strong as they are, my hunch is at some point Bitcoin's going to look over and say, hey, this is my party. It's time for me to shine, and it's going to take off like a rocket. Could there be one more little FU before we go do that? Could be. Is it a good idea to maybe like split hairs and be really trying to thinly fine tune this here and nail this perfectly, the tops and bottoms? I don't know. Green boxes. What does Brian say about green boxes? Do we really want to be too nitpicky about being short in here? I don't think so. That's my just general 2 cents. So, okay, have yourselves a great rest of your day. We will have a formal marketing campaign for the dashboards and the website and the screeners as we go forward in time. I think for the time being, it's really primarily just for site members, and so I'm going to leave it at that. Not really promoting it. People on the site are like, "Hey, you should really promote it." We're not quite ready there yet. There's still a few things we have to just sort of crisp up. So if you are interested in that part of the site, just keep your eyes peeled. If you want to join the site now, take advantage of the cheap pricing, fine, but I'm not really pounding the table. And then, remember everybody, anybody that does sign up for this ridiculous deal, it's for 1 year. And I fully expect all of you to renew probably next Black Friday event. And we'll give you, it's going to be like 10x the current price, but we'll give you 20% off for like a year's membership. So it works out to like $1,000. So I would fully expect everybody who's signing up for this service that you should be able to make that kind of money easily with the signals, and then just follow along through the year. I'll be doing lots of demonstrations. And that really should not be an onerous cost of doing business for you, to just basically have sort of a hand-picked list of ideas every single day to peruse. Probably more significant in the short term is we do have a new education term coming up starting in January. If anything, what should happen is that the school should now sort of dovetail nicely with the actual platform and all the information. Things like our intermarket analysis relationships modules, now we can totally take a next level. And a lot of the intermarket studies, the yield curve, all that kind of stuff, we can actually work just straight off of the website now. So, the point of the school is really just to teach you the process. So if it's one thing to look at this and go, am I going to buy this? Am I going to sell this? What am I going to do? It's quite another thing altogether to do things like come to the market and run like a day trading plan and actually expect to come in here and make money from trading, taking setups day in, day out. And then, of course, same sort of thing. You're going to set yourself up to participate in the cryptocurrency market. Keep in mind, this is seasonally when we're coming up to You know, how does it go? Buy when it snows. Brian can't fucking drive his car because he doesn't have any snow tires. I think it's snowing. Pay attention. But, you know, how are you going to set yourself up to participate? And that's actually where most people fail at this game. Is they'll go, Johnny social media says that Luna is a fantastic idea. And they come in and they buy they just buy the farm here at $95. All right, I'm now officially into crypto. I put all my money into this one idea. And I just listened to somebody's advice online. Let's see what happens. I can tell you the odds of success in running a small business or trading, taking that approach, are very, very, very low. So the school is nothing more than to teach you the process. How do you run a small business or trading effectively? What are all the sort of key components that you should have in place? And then we also, in the school program, teach you a whole bunch of fun little sort of squiggly line kind of thinking to try and help you make those decisions in the marketplace with the least amount of anxiety as possible. Because I can tell you, just blindly buying and selling something and really just, I don't know what's going to happen, right? Because you don't have a vetted setup and you don't have a track record, a history of what usually happens when you see that happen and stuff. If you don't have that, that is just, I mean, it's just asking for trouble. You're setting yourself up for failure, not success. That's our bit. The business of the school is to teach you how do you set yourself up for success. It's really that simple. The fact that you get a whole bunch of the Beamish in your life and basic site access for the rest of your days, well, that's just an added bonus. So, if you want to take this seriously, like, actually, I'd really like to actually have this as a profession. I'd really actually like to, leave my 9-to-5 job and actually be a trader. Well, you got to run it seriously like a business, eating your vegetables, all that kind of fun stuff. And I think we do a really, really good job at telling you what a trader's life really is like, giving you a whole bunch of tools to help you build out that trader look that you want, you're aspiring for. And also, too, because the site is so mature, we have lots of different avenues and directions that you can go into and down. So, there's a million different ways to skin this cat. So half of our job also through the school program is just what I like to call it setting the table. Where you just, do you know the difference between something like a volume analysis study and a volatility analysis study? Do you? I can tell you most people don't. So what I like to say is, like, it's my job just to sit you down at the table and show you, look, these are all the different utensils. These are the different plates. These are the different glasses. This is what typically people do with them. This is the way that I use them to eat dinner. Now, once we've done that, the rest is up to you. You want to eat a steak with a shrimp fork and it works for you? Fucking heck. But there's not really many places on the internet that actually do that. And I like that about TRR. I'm not here to tell you what to buy or sell. I'm here to tell you how professionals go about making a reasoned choice. And then how do you live with those results? So, all right, so we'll be talking more and more about the school program in the coming week or two ahead. I think the new education program kicks in earnest in, I think, about 2 weeks, right? So I think it's the week of the 10th through 14th. So don't be surprised if you hear Brian, for lack of a better term, shilling that, hey, we're here to teach you the process. If you want to learn the process and you want to seriously do this serious profession, now's your time to step up. So, be forewarned. All right, I think I'll leave it at that. Wish me luck with Liam today. Wish me luck driving in this crazy weather. Please, please, please. I need all of your best wishes. I'm scared shitless. I'll tell you, I'm damn scared. But I'm going to drive really, really slowly. I got to be with my boy, and I need all of your prayers. So please send your best wishes my way, and lots of PMA for the win. And if no, not even going to think about it. I'm just going to say, knock on wood, everything's going to go just totally awesome. All right. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. PMA for the win. All the best, and bye for now.